The Texans beat the Buffalo Bills 22-19, and they advance to the divisional round. Who they play is going to be determined here in a few hours, well, depending when you're watching this video, but the outcome of the New England and Tennessee game will determine who the Texans play. If Tennessee wins, then Houston goes to Kansas City, where we've already won this season. But if New England wins that game, then Houston goes to Baltimore. So, go Tennessee. Go Tennessee. That's what we're rooting for right now, guys. Now, as far as this game goes, Jesus Christ. Like, this game was the summary of the Houston Texans season. Literally. Inconsistencies, like, from the get-go to start off the game. Inconsistencies from, like, the whole first half. The whole, like, or most of the third quarter. And just complete inconsistencies. Ugly team to watch. Boring to watch. You know, not a good team. And then everything changed. J.J. Watt got a sack. You know, J.J., he came back from a torn pectoral muscle. He came back early. And he was able to get a sack, and the Bills were held to a field goal because of that sack. And the Bills made the score 16-0. But J.J. Watt getting that sack just kind of sparked the team, because the very next drive, Deshaun Watson marched down the field, and he had this beautiful run, 20-yard touchdown run, where he just took off and he just wouldn't be denied. Like, he just dragged like two guys into the end zone. That's my quarterback, by the way. And, you know, before the Watt sack, DeAndre Hopkins actually fumbled. Up until that point, DeAndre Hopkins hadn't caught a single ball. Not a single ball. His first reception goes for 5 yards, but he fumbles. And that's after, you know, DeAndre Hopkins said that Tre'Davious White wasn't, you know, a top-tier corner, pretty much. I mean, yeah, Tre'Davious White started the whole trash talk thing, but it's whatever. But D-Hop, you know, said Tre'Davious White wasn't a top-tier corner, and up until that point, Tre'Davious White was, you know, keeping D-Hop in check. And then Pat D-Stat tweeted out, you know, shout out to Pat D-Stat. He tweeted out that after that fumble, Andre Johnson took DeAndre Hopkins, like, you know, by himself, to put him to the side and talk to him. And it's pretty obvious whatever Andre Johnson said to him worked. Because after that fumble, D-Hop went off. He had like 90 yards, like, 6 receptions, something like that. I don't know the exact stats. I'm not going to look them up. But, yeah, he had a pretty good game after that fumble. So, like I said, whatever Andre Johnson said worked. And, you know, they say it all the time. Momentum in football matters. That J.J. Watt sack changed the game. Because before that sack, the Texans were dead in the water, man. 16-0. Offense couldn't get going. Singletary was tearing up our defense, like, through the air, running the ball. Josh Allen was running all over us, too. Team couldn't tackle on defense. So, like, that sack that J.J. Watt got changed the game. I guess the reason behind it is, you know, here's this guy who, you know, had a season-ending injury. He comes back for us and makes this big play, and we can't make a play. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. You know, that's what all the players thought. And then, you know, Deshaun became Deshaun. Deshaun Watson woke up. I said it in my prediction video that Deshaun Watson needed to wake up, and wake up he did. He woke up, like, he started hitting D-Hop, started hitting everyone, started doing his magical Deshaun plays. And, shout out to all, the other players as well that contributed. Like Garyon Conley, some nice little pass breakups. Roby should have had like 2 picks. Jacob Martin, he had a nice holding call. Well, not on him, but he made a guy hold him, so they called that. I guess technically Whitney Merciless. I mean, let's be honest. They credited Whitney Merciless with a sack, but Josh Allen just, straight up dropped that ball. I don't think Merciless had anything to do with it. But then Jacob Martin recovered it. Jacob Martin also later had a sack, crucial sack. So these players made key plays on defense, and offensively, you had D-Hop going off, Deshaun Watson doing his thing. Kenny Stills had a little crucial catch there as well. And then you had Carlos Hyde catching a touchdown. But that was a play after he kind of fumbled a pitch. I mean, if he would have caught it, he would have been in for a touchdown. But good thing is that, very next play, he catches a touchdown anyway, so it's not like it really mattered. So that's good. And then he had Duke Johnson going for like 2 or 3 long runs. And, a very crucial play on the Texans' game-winning drive. Deshaun Watson found Duke Johnson open underneath, and Duke Johnson took it for an 18-yard gain. It was 3rd and 18. That play happened a play after Deshaun Watson took a pretty bad sack. At that point, things were looking pretty bad, but then Duke Johnson came through. Deshaun was able to find him, and Duke Johnson got a big play there, and that set everything up for probably the biggest play of the game, and probably the best play in Deshaun Watson's career. The biggest play in Deshaun Watson's career. Deshaun was literally about to get sacked, but somehow, Deshaun Watson, Houdini, a magician, whatever you want to call him, dude just, keeps pulling out these miracles out of his hat like a magician. So he avoids sacks and then ends up rolling out to the right and somehow finds Taiwan Jones. Yes, Taiwan Jones. Special teamer. A lot of Texans fans, including myself, multiple times. I'm talking about myself here, by the way. Multiple times, I've said, why in the world is Taiwan Jones even on this damn roster? He don't do anything. Well, when the game mattered most, Taiwan Jones was right there. Deshaun found him. Taiwan caught the ball and took it all the way to the Bills' 10-yard line, which set up the Texans' game-winning field goal. Not only that, now that we're on the topic of why the hell is this guy on our roster, Mike Adams, another guy. Why in the world is he even on our roster? That's me. Said it pretty consistently. Dude made a nice play, a nice TFL to set up, 3rd and 13, I believe. So, hey man, these bottom of the roster guys, Mike Adams, Taiwan Jones, they made plays. And, special teams. Special teams did their thing. Brian Anger, probably the best punter in the NFL. Kaimi Fairbairn, ice in his veins, kicked the game-winning field goal. And, John Weeks did his whole thing, So special teams did good. I mean, there was this one special teams blunder. And we got kind of lucky, but, it's common sense. The commentators were saying it, where, to start off the second half, DeAndre Carter gave himself up and then tossed the ball to the refs for whatever reason. The ref was like, oh, it's a live ball. I see that all the time, So it's true, it's common sense. He gave himself up. So, yeah. And then, the Bills, like I said. Josh Allen, start off the game, did pretty good. He ran all over the Texans. Like I said, he could. Texans really couldn't stop him, besides towards the end of the game where Zach Cunningham lit him up. And then he had a receiving touchdown with some trick play, man. I was like, oh god, it's going to be that type of game. And it kind of was that type of game. And, Josh Allen was doing good, like I said, to start the game. Singletary did good. Like, the Bills, they started off the game. They had full control of that game for about, I'd say, a good 40 minutes. But we've seen it all the time in the past with the Texans. You gotta play 60 minutes. The Texans say it all the time, you gotta play 60 minutes. The Bills, they didn't. The Texans did. Well, technically 60 minutes plus because we did go to overtime. And, I mean, the Bills had opportunities to win the game, but how the Texans have done for much of the season, somehow, some way, they find ways to win. That's kind of the mentality the Texans have these days, just find a way. And they found a way. But just because the Texans found a way to win doesn't mean it excuses how the game started. Like, come on. We got to be better than that. We saw in those last 20 minutes plus overtime what this team can be, what this team can do. We saw it, man. So, Bill O'Brien, you survive for one more week. Deshaun Watson and D-Hop, J.J. Watt, Jacob Martin, I guess Whitney Merciless, they kind of saved your job, man, because I was over there. Fire Bill O'Brien, clean house. See what happens next week. But for now, I'm not really going to try to be negative because we did somehow found a way to win. But like I said, just because we won doesn't mean you should ignore everything that happened throughout those first 40 minutes of the game. Inexcusable. It's a playoff game. Players should have been prepared. And yes, I understand Deshaun Watson didn't exactly start off the game that well. But, eventually things got going. When Bill O'Brien started running the ball with Deshaun Watson calling the signed quarterback runs, kind of crazy how it opens up the whole offense without Will Fuller. Think about that. Just think about that for a second. We get Will Fuller back next week. Whether we play KC, Baltimore, Will Fuller should really help the Texans next week. I am praying for KC, but if we have to play Baltimore, so be it. Eventually we're going to have to play them. So, whatever. Just got to be prepared. And hopefully Deshaun Watson's able to lead us, somewhere we've never been before. And overall, if you're a football fan, this game, well, besides maybe the first half, this game was probably very enjoyable. Like, this game was very good. Like, if I wasn't a pissed off Texans fan at the way we played in the first half, I would have completely enjoyed this game, man. I did enjoy this game. The Texans came back. The Texans didn't choke against the Bills, unlike some other teams. I'm not going to call anyone out, but, former loser teams that choked against the Bills, yeah, the Texans aren't that team. So, quit comparing them to that team. And, yeah, Deshaun, magical. Bill O'Brien finally woke up and started using Deshaun a little bit more in the run game. Turnell, I hate you. But, you called some good blitzes there at the end. You're still going to get fired after the season. You should still definitely get fired after the season. But, you get to survive for one more week. And, yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys for today. Comment down below your opinions on this game. And, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.